Hello, good morning dear students. Welcome again in another course, which is the 5th course in medical English. Today we will see, as we have dealt in the previous sessions, the speech parts or the rest of the speech parts in English language. Last time we have seen the nouns, the pronouns and the adjectives. We have seen each components of each one. And today our lesson will be the rest of the speech parts, and starting by we will see what is a verb. So a verb is a word can either describe a state of being, an action or an occurrence. Here we have 3 examples. The rabbit was jumping in the field. In the first example here we are describing an action, that is the rabbit jumping. In the second example, the monster likes roller coasters. We are expressing here a state of being. Third, the caterpillar became a butterfly. Here the verb describes an occurrence, and which means something happens. When writing, make sure that every sentence you write it contains a verb and a tense to give meaning to the sentence. We will see also what is a finite and non-finite verbs. In a sentence, there is normally at least one verb that has both a subject and a tense, and that's obviously each verb must contain its tense, and each sentence must contain a subject and a time conjugated in. When a verb has a subject and a tense, it can be referred to as finite verb. Here in the example, we want Charlie to act as a club secretary. So the verb is want, and it is conjugated in the simple present and following the subject, which is the pronoun we. Some forms of verbs are referred to as non-finite. The present and the past participle and the two infinitive are the most common of this. We have 3 forms, which are the present and the past participles, and the two infinitive we call them a non-finite forms. The base form is often used in a non-finite way. Every verb can be used in a clause in either a finite or non-finite way. So either we have a finite or non-finite way, we can use them in a sentence. A verb is finite if it is found in a clause in combination with the subject and the tense. So here we have an agreement between the subject and the verb, so it is a finite form. Here in the example, I walked home, we have to notice that walked is conjugated in the simple past and following the subject I. A verb, it is non-finite if it is used without the verb having a tense. So here we have the infinitive to open, or we have the gerund form ing. Here are some non-finite forms, which has no agreement between the subject and the verb. We have also to see the compound verb. What is a compound verb? A compound verb is actually made up one finite part, which is always the first auxiliary verb, while the remaining non-finite parts are the base form or the participles. In the following examples, the finite part of the verb phrase are in red italic. I may have been joking when I said that. So here the verb is may. Have been joking. We have to see that have is not conjugated, and we have the gerund also ing. Here we have a compound verb consists from the first verb and the second part, which is in the non-finite form. Helen was running. Running also here is a non-finite form. The present simple and the past simple forms of verb are always finite. So take the rule that each verb or every verb is conjugated, so it is a finite form. So a non-finite verb is sometimes used immediately after a finite verb. Like here in the example, I like to get up early at the weekend. Harriet really dislikes cleaning the cooker. So here we have the infinitive to, and we have a conjugated verb here, like. Here we have the gerund ing after the verb, which is conjugated in the present simple, dislikes. Often a noun or a pronoun can come between the finite verb and the non-finite one. We have to see these examples. We want Charlie to act as a club secretary. To act here is in the infinitive, and it is non-finite form as we have mentioned before. So here we have Charlie, a noun, and we have the verb in the non-finite form, then the rest of the sentence. We have also to see the strong and the weak forms of the verbs. The distinction between a weak verb and a strong verb is based on how the past tense of the verb is formed. Weak verbs, more commonly called regular verbs, form the past tense by adding an ed, d, or t, and that's the rule. The base form or present tense of the verb, such as call, called, and walk, walked. So here we have strong verbs, usually called irregular verbs, form the past tense or the past participle or both in various ways, past most often by changing the vowel of the present tense form, such as to give, gave, and stick, stuck. So here to make a distinction between the two forms, a weak verb is a verb when we make its past, we are obliged only to add a d or t or ed, and those are regular verbs, while in the irregular verbs we have to say they are weak in the weak form, sorry, and it means that their past or past participle form change differently the form. So we have to mention the tenses of the verbs. Verbs come in three tenses: past, present, and future, and those are the main tenses. We have for sure another tenses which are past perfect, present continuous, and the rest of the tenses. But we have to focus only on these three. The past is used to describe things that have already happened. Example, earlier in the day, yesterday, last week, 3 years ago, and those are time markers or time sequencers to express that we are talking about a past event. The present tense is used to describe things that are happening right now, or things that are continuous. We have to mark that each verb in the present we will find an s in the final, with the three pronouns, he, she, or it. The future tense describes things that have yet to happen, later, tomorrow, next week, next year, 3 years from now, and those are time markers also to express the future, or future happenings. So, let's move a little bit and see what is an adverb. An adverb is a word that is used to change, modify, or qualify several types of words, including an adjective, a verb, or a clause, or another adverb. So, as we have seen last time, the adjective describes the noun, while here in the adverb describes a verb, a clause, or another adverb, and here is the difference between the adjective and the adverb. Traditionally considered as a single part of speech, adverbs perform a wide variety of functions, making it difficult to treat them as a single, unified category. However, spotting an adverb, especially when it ends with ly, is very easy. Adverbs normally help paint a fuller picture by describing how something happens, such as giving an information about time or when something happens. Here we have, she always arrives early. The adjective early here indicates the time she arrives. We have also how he drives. He drives carefully. Carefully is the adjective, and describes the manner. Where? The place. They go everywhere together. We have the adjective everywhere expresses the place. In what way? She eats slowly. So the way she eats is slowly, and here the adjective, the adverb is slowly. To what extent or to what reason? It is terribly hot. So here the adverb terribly expresses the extent. We have to see also the types of adverbs. Adverbs of manner will explain how an action is carried out. Very often adverbs of manner are adjectives with ly added to the end. So we have a simple adjective, and when we add an ly we will get our adverb, and that adverb expresses a manner. Here in the example we have the adjective slow, and when we add an ly it becomes slowly. So here we have the list of adverbs: slowly, rapidly, clumsily, and badly. We have also adverbs of place. An adverb of place, sometimes called a spatial adverb, will help explain where an action happens. Adverbs of place will be associated with the action of the verb in a sentence, providing context for direction, distance, and position. South, east, everywhere, up, left, close, by, back, inside, around. And this type of adverbs doesn't have ly in the end. So, adverbs of place generally indicates a place or a specific place, like we have north, east, west, or the south. We have also adverbs of frequency. Adverbs of frequency are used to express time or how often something occurs. Adverbs of frequency can be split two main groups. The first group is adverbs of indefinite frequency, are terms that have an unclear meaning as to how long or how often something occurs. We have usually, always, normally, and those adverbs express the frequency. And those adverbs will usually be placed after the main verb or between the auxiliary verb and the infinitive one. We have also adverbs of time. Adverbs of time, while similar to adverbs of frequency. So the main difference is the adverbs of frequency expresses a habit or how something or how much something is doing, sometimes, often, or always. But the adverb of time tell us when something happens, and it gives the exact time. Adverbs of time are usually placed at the end of the sentence. Adverb of verbs, sometimes called adverbs of reason, help to describe why something happened. As we have seen before, the example to what extent. They can come in the form of individual words, so, since, thus, because, but also clauses. So that in order to, and you have to notice that in the example that the adverbs of verbs are used to connect sentences that wouldn't make sense if they were formed alone. So the adverbs of verbs here connect between the two sentences to give sense. We have also to see another part of speech which is more important, which is determiners. A determiner is a word that introduces a noun. It is always comes before a noun, not after, and it is always comes before any other adjective used to describe the noun or to narrow the scope. Here we have the examples. The bunny went home. So determiners are required before a singular noun, but are optional when it comes to introducing a plural noun. And they have different types. And here we have to notice that we have to use determiners before any singular item or any singular noun, but it is not necessary to add a determiner before the plural form. We have also to see what are articles. Articles are among the most common of the determiners. So articles are a type of determiner. There are three singular articles, a, an, and the. Articles specify or determine which noun the speaker is referring to. So it specifies the subject. A and n are indefinite articles and are used when you are talking about a general version of the noun. For example, a dog is a good pet. So here when we omit the a, we can say dog is a good pet, but it's still too wide or the range is still too vague. An ostrich would beat a chicken in a race. On the other hand, like is in definite article, meaning the speaker is referring to a specific noun. So here when we add an article, we are specifying our noun or narrowing our subject. For example, we went to the best restaurant in town. So when we say we went to the restaurant in town, we have many restaurants in our town, but when we use the article the, we are specifying which restaurant. So we have to see also what are the demonstratives. Demonstrative pronouns are also used as determiners. In English, there are 4 of them: this, that, these, and those. Demonstratives are used in a situation in which the speaker can point to the item. They mean making them even more specific than a definite article. So the only difference here between the demonstratives and the articles is that in demonstrative we are pointing at something and we are specifying it exactly. For example, do you want this piece of chicken? When we say do you want a piece of chicken, we are talking generally, and by pointing on it we use the demonstrative this. We have also to see what are quantifiers. Quantifiers are determiners also that indicate how much or how little of the noun is being discussed. They include words such as all, few, and many. Like in the example, he took all the books. She liked all dessert equally. Possessives. When referring to a noun that belongs to someone or something, you can use the possessive pronouns to show ownership or the possession of something. Possessive pronouns include my, your, his, her, or our, or its. Like in the example, where is your car? So your here is the possessive, and it's showing that the subject is possessing a car. As always, the determiner comes before the noun and any modifying adjectives. In English, you can use the same possessive whether the noun it refers is singular or plural. So you can use one possessive to refer either the singular or the plural form. And here are some uses of determiners or some principles to use determinants correctly. How should you choose which determiner to use? For native English speaker, determining which determiner to use is second nature, since determiners are so often used in front of nouns. For people learning English as a second language, it is helpful to remember a few rules, and that means for us, as a second language learners, determiners always come first in the noun phrase. Determiners are required with singular nouns. To speak about a singular noun, generally use an indefinite article a or n. To speak about a plural noun, generally do not use any determiner, and that we have mentioned before. To speak about a singular noun, specifically use a definite article, demonstrative pronoun, possessive pronoun, or a quantifier to point on it or to talk about it specifically. To speak about a plural noun, specifically use a definite article, demonstrative pronoun, possessive pronoun, or a quantifier. So here are some rules about the use of determiners, and when you take them by heart, you will be able to use any determiner correctly. So, we have also conjunctions as a speech part. What are conjunctions? Conjunctions are words that link other words, phrases, or clauses together, and we have three types of them. We have the coordinating conjunction, or what is called the fanboys, which are F, A, N, B, O, Y, and S, and the beginning of each one of them. We call them the fanboys, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. We have also the correlative conjunctions. Correlative conjunctions are pairs of conjunctions that work together. Some examples are either or, neither nor, and not only, but also. So when we say she likes either coffee or milk, we are here expressing that she likes both of them, coffee and milk. So here we have a correlative conjunction which is either or. We have also the subordinating conjunctions. Subordinating conjunctions join an independent and dependent clauses. A subordinating conjunction can signal a cause and effect relationship between the two parts of the sentence, a contrast, or some other kind of relationship between the clauses. Common subordinating conjunctions are because, since, as, although, and while, or whereas. So here is a list of some conjunctions, and you have to take them by heart. Coordinating conjunctions, as we have mentioned before, are called the fanboys. We have also the correlative conjunctions, and some subordinated conjunctions are after, although, as, provided that, since, so, and supposing that. So, we will see the last speech part, which is interjections. Interjections are words used to express strong feeling or sudden emotion. They are really included in a sentence, usually at the start, to express a sentiment such as surprise, disgust, joy, excitement, or happiness. So, Interjections are words to express our feeling. Like for example, when you say, wow, that's a cool or a big house. And those are interjections. So here we have arrived to our end of the lesson. See you next course inshallah. I hope that you have enjoyed.